Your listing photos are too nice. This is your host, Ron Wysocharski, for the Black Hole of Real Estate. And a lot of you out there are overdoing it with your photography. Now, stay with me. Here's what I mean by this. Let's suppose that you got the picture-perfect home. Then you want professional photography and you want to make it look amazing online. But let's suppose that you've got a couple of blemishes, or maybe your house is a little small or chopped up, or, got some things you'd like to disguise. See, this is where we get it wrong, and we need to be a good friend and tell you about this. You see, for instance, if it's a really small room, and then you use like the wide angle version of it, it makes the room look so much bigger. Let's say the living room looks huge, but then you get there and you find out that there's not a single wall where you can fit more than a 5.5-foot couch. So your 8-foot couch will never fit unless you completely block off the room from every other part of the house. So that could get a buyer to quickly turn around and say, "Ooh, man, the pictures, well, they didn't look like what I saw online when I got there," right? So I see the pictures, they look great. I get there, not so great. Now, I'm not saying anybody's misrepresenting it. You want to show your home in the best light, but if the person gets there that's ready, willing, and able to buy, expects a big living room, but they can't fit a love seat in there, see, this can be a problem. And then if the home becomes unbuyable to them, not unsellable to you, unbuyable to them. Now, another thing, let's suppose that you've got some really nice filters, or you maybe don't light it up so much in the pictures, and you're taking pictures of kitchen cabinets. And based on a certain angle, it can look okay. But then when you get there, then you find out that the cabinets underneath the sink, well, they're barely attached. They're falling literally out of the main cabinet, and they're at an angle, but they were propped together to be level for probably just the picture. And then as you get a little bit closer to it, you notice there's all chips in there. There's different colors. They use touch-up paint that is like an off-white when it's a gloss white, and it's very, very noticeable. Then your kitchen photos, let's suppose that you didn't want them to see that you had some vinyl flooring in the kitchen, but underneath the refrigerator, there's still the old tile. Maybe the guy putting the floors down didn't want to pound out all that tile, or just didn't want to bother with it, or maybe he ran out of materials. I don't know. But it looks really weird in the middle of the kitchen when your kitchen's on its own little tile island while the rest is LVP. See, that's an awkward look. And it didn't show that way in the picture because the refrigerator is shown in the picture, but not the floor below it. So, there's surprise. You get there, and in a really small kitchen, when the cabinets are falling off, the paint looks terrible, and there's 2 different floors in a 6x8 space. See, these are things that make your home unbuyable. And we want to make sure that we're not doing something that gets in the way. If the living room looks big and you can't fit your furniture in there, see, another problem. As we start to learn what to do in real estate, quite often we advise to take the pictures that look like the home. And rather than lure someone in there under the pretense that everything looks great and everything is huge and everything is perfect, only to get there and be disappointed, it might make sense to have really nice pictures that accurately depict the space. Let them know, hey, the living room's a little bit small. However, we use some virtual staging to show you how that you could fit a living room set in there, or a couple of chairs and a love seat, or a smaller couch, maybe a TV on the wall. Can we paint the picture for them of what it might look like in space to better utilize the space? Maybe the people below had some really old furniture, some undesirable furniture, or maybe they moved out before the pictures. So if you cannot visualize, you walk in there, you just see this really tiny space, it's going to be hard for someone to imagine it. In the case of this one, there was bedroom doors coming off on either side, so in some areas you only had 2-3 feet to work with. Now, I'm not saying every place is going to be like this, but I want to give you some credible examples of what can go wrong when somebody enters the property. I would let you know that anything can be done to make it look a little bit better, especially now with all the filters and things you can do with cameras and lighting. But is that how you want the experience to go for the customer? I would rather that they see, hey, you know what? I noticed in the pictures there's a couple of spots on the wall from when they probably touched up where there's picture holes the picture hangers was on the wall. Okay, you know what? We were never going to keep it that yellow color. We wanted to paint it gray. So it's been patched. We're going to paint over it. Not a big deal because I was going to do that anyways. Maybe let them see that the flooring is a little bit older, but let's face it, most people, when they go in, they anticipate changing out some flooring, repainting the place, maybe inside and out. Most people plan to do that. Every so often, the seller has it just right where they don't have to do that. And if it's really nice and clean, that would help. You see, that's the other thing. You make the place look so nice in the pictures. The kitchen's chopped up. The living room isn't doing too good. You got hole patches on the wall. By the way, there's palmetto bugs. No, not cockroaches, but palmetto bugs all dead on the floor. The bathrooms were never cleaned after maybe the tenant moved out. The sinks got stuff in it. It would make a lot of sense to either clean your house or hire someone to clean the house. So the pictures hide that. You don't always see dirt in the picture. I mean, it would have to be really dirty to see dirt in the picture. But if it's empty, you really don't know till you get there that the place has all the things I mentioned, plus it's dirty. See, again, it makes it unbuyable. So your pictures can actually be too nice for your property, and you can make it a little more realistic so that the consumer experience is such that they saw it online, and when they arrived at the home, it was pretty much the same thing. Now it's just down to price and their desirability for making an offer on that property versus everything else they looked at. So you're eliminating some of the hurdles for the buyer by being realistic about what it's going to look like when they get there. Now, I guess the other side of this is, what if you have an amazing place and really crappy photos? Maybe somebody's got a flip phone from 1962 and, they're clicking away. Or I love when, I actually don't love it, when you see the front photo of a listing and you notice the frame of the car door or the window, like the agent didn't even get out of the car to take the pictures, or maybe it was for sale by owner. I mean, do better, guys. At least get out of the cars so we can't see you're sitting in the car using your crappy phone to take a picture. You're trying to sell a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 listing where somebody's going to make $10,000, $20,000, whatever dollars. Spend a few $100 on photos. I mean, I think it's a really good investment, and just do better. So if your marketing is such that you got really lousy photos on there, number one, if you're selling it by owner, fire yourself. And if you hired an agent and they got crappy photos out there, well, maybe ask that question the next time around in the interviews. Show me an example of the photography that you use in your work. What is your system to market? How would you make this property stand out so that buyers would want to make appointments, make offers, and buy it? All right. I'm all fired up about this because everything I told you just happened in the last few days. Last week we had carpet where I couldn't even open up the front door. Now I'm walking into places that look clean in the pictures, and there's bugs everywhere, and it's just a mess. If you are thinking of selling your home and you do want top dollar, I've given you a roadmap of what not to do. If you got questions about what you should be doing, well, you keep tuning into this podcast. You subscribe and go back through it, and there's plenty of material to help you get your home ready to sell for top dollar. This is your host, Ron Wojciechowski for the Black Hole of Real Estate.